wake each morning to the ping of notifications, messages, invites, alerts, each one beckoning you into another circle of chatter, another swirl of trivialities. Join us, they whisper. Be seen, be liked, be accepted. And so you rush from one gathering to the next. Coffee with colleagues, after-work drinks, weekend meetups, endless scrolling through feeds of smiling faces. Yet, the more you socialize, telling the same jokes, echoing the same opinions, the more you feel your mind dulled, your thoughts homogenized, your true self buried beneath the clamor. Over 2,000 years ago, Diogenes of Sinope warned against this very trap. He lived in a tub in Athens, dressed in rags, carrying a lantern by daylight in search of an honest man. He believed that society's conventions, its endless rules about etiquette, fashion, speech, bred ignorance rather than wisdom. The more sociable you are, he proclaimed, the more stupid you will be. Not because people are inherently foolish, but because sociability pressures us to conform, to swallow others' opinions unchewed, to prioritize popularity over truth, to trade originality for approval. Diogenes led by example. When Plato defined a human as a featherless biped, Diogenes plucked a chicken and brought it into Plato's academy, shouting, "Behold, Plato's human." In that act of absurdity, he exposed how the academic circle, cozy in its jargon, had lost sight of reality. He mocked the endless debates on virtue that never touched the heart of what it means to live well. To Diogenes, true wisdom sprang not from polite conversation, but from living authentically, rejecting vanity, rejecting herd thinking, rejecting the anesthetic of constant social banter. Imagine a modern boardroom. Colleagues gather around a polished table, nodding as a speaker uses the latest buzzwords: synergy, paradigm shift, thought leadership. The group applauds, emails fly, LinkedIn posts follow. But has anyone truly thought, or is everyone merely echoing the group's approved script? Diogenes would stand in the back, lantern blazing, searching for one mind brave enough to stand silent, listening to its own voice rather than the consensus's hollow chorus. Contrast that with the hermit writer, who locks himself in a cabin for weeks, wrestling with his own doubts, listening to the crackle of the hearth and the rhythm of his pen on the page. In solitude, he resists the pull of social judgment and fashions sentences that resonate with depth and originality. His prose does not sparkle with popularity. It glows with authenticity. Diogenes would smile at such a man, for he knew that genius blooms in the fertile soil of introspection, not in the manic garden of social media likes. When Diogenes lived in Corinth, he wandered the public baths with a plucked goose, another parody meant to shatter the complacency of bathers. He asked, "Why do you worship false gods when you kneel before each other's vanity?" His absurd antics forced people to see themselves as they really were, beings addicted to appearances, slaves to the applause of an audience, too entranced by spectacle to know themselves. His philosophy was not a call to loneliness, but to self-sovereignty, the refusal to surrender your mind to the mob. In your own life, observe how sociability dulls your sharpest faculties. You attend networking events, exchange business cards, smile at strangers, and leave feeling emptier than when you arrived. You share memes, retweet articles, nod at trending opinions, and gradually your own convictions fade into the white noise. Diogenes would say you've become a featherless biped in a human suit, mindlessly mimicking the vernacular of the flock. He taught that wisdom requires resistance to the social instinct. When Alexander the Great offered to grant Diogenes any wish, the Cynic merely asked him to stand out of my sun. He did not seek praise, titles, or social advancement. He sought the freedom to stand in his own light. Yours is the same quest, to stand in the clarity of your own reason, unshaded by the world's endless chatter. How then do you harness Diogenes' insight? Begin with small acts of social defiance. Turn off your phone for an hour each morning and listen to your own thoughts. Attend fewer parties and fewer meetings. Savor fewer small talks and deeper conversations. When you find yourself echoing a popular opinion, pause. Ask, is this truly mine? Refuse to nod in agreement out of habit. Speak only when your words weigh more than the silence they break. Cultivate solitude as a practice of self-discovery. Rent a small room with no distractions, an empty notebook, a pen. Sit for 20 minutes each day, letting memories surface, fears bubble, dreams cry out. These are the raw materials of originality. Diogenes would remind you that the world's din is the greatest thief of insight. By stealing back your attention, you reclaim the power to think, to feel, to create. Seek out the honest man within yourself. Diogenes held his lantern not for strangers, but for his own searching. You need not live in a barrel by the harbor, but you can adopt the Cynic's lens. Question the value of each social ritual. Does it enrich your mind? Does it sharpen your character? If not, refuse participation. Each no is a stand for your own intelligence. In small communities of truth-seekers, friends who value honesty over flattery, you will find a richer sociability. These are men and women who challenge you, who confess their own shadows, who debate fiercely, yet depart in mutual respect. They are the heirs of Diogenes' barrel, cells of resistance against the herd's anesthetic. In such alliances, sociality becomes a crucible for growth, not a cage for conformity. Remember that Diogenes earned the sobriquet the dog because he lived like one, fierce, free, loyal only to his own nature. When you see others panting for social approval, turn away. Follow the snarling philosopher who gnawed on the roots of hypocrisy and thrived. Let your own social instinct become a tool, not a master. Reach out only when the call resonates with your deepest aims. Withdraw always for the sake of your own reflection. When you next find yourself at a crowded event, test your resolve. Stand silently for a moment, scanning the faces around you. Feel the thrumming pressure to join the laughter, the chorus of names and gossip. Then step back, offer no reaction. Feel the power of your own judgment standing apart. In that moment of poised solitude, you will glimpse the freedom Diogenes championed. To live by his principle, the more sociable you are, the more stupid you will be, is not to renounce humanity, but to reclaim your humanity from the masses. Each day, seek balance, social connection that invigorates, not drains, conversation that enlightens, not diminishes, community that celebrates individuality, not conformity. In the end, you will discover that the greatest fellowship is found not in crowds, but in the quiet convergence of free minds. And there, in that luminous space beyond the herd, you will find intelligence unshackled, creativity unbound, and a life lived in the bright light of your own reason, just as Diogenes intended.